No, I touched on it there, the Killie game on Sunday. Danny Rohl said himself it was a kind of small step forward, nothing more. You were there. What did you make of it overall?
Well, I thought it obviously changed the shape. Sort of, there was a wee bit of debate over what the exact shape was. For me, it was a sort of obviously a back three with wing backs and a sort of box midfield of obviously Raskin and Diamandi sort of being the deeper two. Then Asgard with Danilo alongside him, maybe being the wee bit more advanced than those two, but basically just forming a central spine. Given this team, we've heard it all season that this is a team that lacks backbone and they're so vulnerable through the central channels. And I thought Danny Rohl's identified that, especially from the game the other night in Norway. I think he saw that it was just far too easy to play through Rangers through the central channels. So I think he's decided I just need to clog that up, put bodies in there and give them more of a platform to play off. I didn't think they were terrific going forward, but I think you look at the chances that they coughed up. I mean, really, they only gave Kilmarnock 2 chances, and one of them was a huge blunder from Jack Butland, and the second one's where Jack Butland actually redeems himself with a great save from Bruce Anderson. But when you think about the number of chances that in games this season Rangers have coughed up, I think that was a vast improvement. I think that's probably the most assured, most solid they've looked. And yeah, they obviously conceded with that Butland sort of fresh air punch from the corner just before half time. But what also I think you noticed about the place was the atmosphere didn't get as toxic as it would have had under Russell Martin. As soon as there was a setback, the place just seemed to give up on the team. I think the fans stuck with them. Obviously helped getting that really early goal in the second half. I think that obviously lifted the pressure immediately off the team. I'm sure Keltwell was obviously furious with Kilmarnock the way they conceded all 3 goals. But it was a huge boost to Danny Rohl. Could have been a couple of more. I still think the 4th one against Nico Raskin, I'd like another look at the VAR pictures. I'm not sure the lines were drawn. The exact places. I'm sure that I think they drew it off the defender's knee. I'm sure his head was slightly further forward. But I think I don't think it flattered Rangers a 3-1 win, or I don't think a 4-1 win would have flattered Rangers. Listen, it was just the most routine of wins for Rangers. I think that's right now what they need to be striving for. It's just getting back to a consistency and a comfort in the way they play. I mean, I can't remember too many times Ibrox in recent memory, and I'm talking about maybe the last year, where they've been able to play out the final 20 minutes with relative ease. I've sat Ibrox so many times over the last wee while, and the last 10 minutes of games are fraught as they cling on to a result. This was different. They were in total control, and as I say, had it not been for a fractional offside call, would have won by a bigger margin. So that's encouraging. That has to be encouraging for the Rangers support. But as you said, and as Danny Rohl said, it's one step, and there is a long way to go before they can be looking to do anything more than just winning one game after another.
I think you're right. I think it was encouraging, and the big takeaway was undoubtedly the tactical switch for Danny Rohl. But to me, it was more like to me, it actually reminded me of how Man United play with a 3-4-2-1, basically. And the key thing is, and everybody says this about that system, is those 2 inside forwards, because they get into spaces which cause opposition real problems. But at the same time, as you touched on, because of the positions that they play, they can then help out the midfield. They can make it congested in there when you're defending. I thought in the first half it didn't really work as well as Rohl would have liked.
Yep.
And whatever he did in the second half, obviously he made a key change, taking Majowski off, putting Danilo through the middle. And I thought the second half was so much better. It worked so much better. And I don't know what you thought, but I mean, for me, it was Mikey Moore's best performance in a Rangers jersey since he came in. And I just wonder, watching him on Sunday, this kid, he's obviously come in, he's hugely talented, so highly rated in England and at Spurs. And we've almost kind of just, pigeonholed him as being an out-and-out winger, hugging the touchline. Whereas playing in that wee half space, off the striker at the weekend, I thought he really came into his own. I'm not saying he was amazing, but I saw a lot more in him, and I thought he was a far bigger threat than what he has been. And I thought the second half, another key thing about that formation is getting people close to your front man, and that's been a problem for Rangers. Whoever's played up front is that lone striker. When the two wingers have been so wide and without a real proper attacking midfielder, number 10, natural number 10, Rangers haven't get players close enough to the striker. And at times it's actually made the striker probably look poorer than he actually has been in games because he's been so isolated. I don't think there was any coincidence that Shamite actually also had his best performance when he came off the bench at the weekend, and you actually saw a few things in him. But it was because he was getting players around him. Moore on one side, Asgard on the other side. I think the other key thing for Danny Rohl was he clearly told Raskin to try and get forward more in the second half, because I think that was a problem in the first half, that the two sitting midfielders were just, they were too static. They were scared to move into spaces. So I actually thought there was a lot of positives in that second half, and he might just have unlocked something with that system and getting the likes of Moore into those positions.